Yeah.
What has allowed Dante to be so polished, poised, and just effective, 3 games into his college career?
Well, I just think it's his makeup as a person. There's a maturity to him, that you noticed in the recruiting process, and then when he got here on campus in January, that he's not been overwhelmed by the situation that he's in. I think we preach about living your life in vision, not circumstance, and I think he really does. He lives his life in vision. He has a vision of what he wants to be as a player and what he wants to be as a person, and I think he adheres to that. I also think he's got great work ethic, so his confidence comes from preparation. He works extremely hard, and he's not just out there winging it. He spends a lot of time, as every really good quarterback has to do. I mean, it's a position of preparation, and the more prepared you are, the more confidence you have. But I think he's got a lot of those intangible qualities that you look for in that position.
Can you give some examples of his work ethic that have impressed you?
Well, just how he watches film and he studies. He's in this building a lot. You'll walk around here at 7 o'clock at night and you'll see him, and he's down watching tape. I think he's taking full advantage of what we have set up for quarterback development, in terms of the VR stuff that we do and all those other things. We can provide them for people. We can't mandate them. It's just entirely up to them in terms of what they want to do, because he's really gravitated to that. I think he loves playing football, so he loves everything associated with football. So
these traits, these qualities about him, how unusual in your experience of coaching freshman quarterbacks? How unusual is that? How does he rate compared to other freshman quarterbacks on those traits?
Rate anybody.
Okay, no
traits.
rating.
Yeah, it's just what he is. I think the biggest thing, in my opinion, is just he's mature for that age. It's hard, from a developmental standpoint, as a person at 17 and 18 years old to do that. And I think it's rare. A lot of guys are caught up, and he's not kind of caught up in a lot of the other things that 17 and 18-year-old kids are caught up in. So.
He's 18 right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chip, Gary Smith is in his second year with the program now.
Mm-hmm.
How have you kind of seen him develop, and what has his process been like?
Yeah, I think Gary's played outstanding for us in these first 3 games. I thought he played really well for us last year, but like a bunch of those guys on our defensive side of the ball, this is year 2 for him, year 2 for Darius, year 2 for Gary, year 2 for the Murphys, year 2 for Latu. But I think Gary's a technician. He's really fundamentally sound. He always works on his craft. He's really smart. He's sudden. He's quick. And I think you just see in the experience of him being able to play all last year for us. And then now, it's year 2 for him here. And I think he's really starting to flourish. And it's been a big help. I think both him and Jay Torrey have been really, really rock solid for us inside so far in the first 3 games.
The injuries with Utah has had have kind of become a big storyline. Pretty start in depth about how many guys they have out. You kind of have the opposite, right? I mean, are your team's
on Wednesday?
Okay,
on Wednesday.
Knock on wood.
No, I'm just like last year, and you guys don't. I don't know. You guys talk about it, and I know we joke about it. You guys get a big kick out of it. Is we practice all week long, and on Friday morning, Alec Anderson said he couldn't play, and we spent the entire week with Alec Anderson playing. So we had to shuffle our entire offensive line lineup going into the game 2 years ago. So it can happen at any time. To maybe stay away from that, and the football gods of saying, hey, we're healthy, we're good to go, and then all of a sudden 3 kids get hurt in today's training session is it's just the nature of the sport we play. And I think at all times during the course of a season, your depth is going to be tested. Sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late. I don't think no one has a crystal ball on that. So.
And you said basically you're preparing for Andy Ludwig, not personnel.
We prepare for their schemes and what they do, and Kyle's been there for 20 plus years, so they've run a version of his defense for the last 20 years. They run the ball. They're a big play action pass team. They're a multiple tight end team. I don't see that changing. I don't see them throwing out an entire thing and we're going to walk out on the field on Saturday and they're empty the entire game and 5 wide receivers on the field, and then they're playing a brand new defense. And I don't think that's the deal. I think you got to put the guys that are the backups in if they have to play. They have to, because that's the system that they've learned. So if you're going to say, all right, we're going to player A is down, player B's going in. Well, player B's been trained in this system. You're not going to change the entire system in the span of 3 days to do something. So.
Can I ask a strength of the Pac-12 question?
Sure.
Obviously, you know this conference well. Is this as strong as
you think? But again, it's early. So I think once the the meat of the schedule comes out. But I think in the really the out of conference play, I think our team's fared really well. Utah's a prime example. They played 2 Power 5 teams in Baylor and Florida and beat both of them. An SEC team and a Big 12 team. So, I would say right now it's strong, but we're still in September. So we'll see as the season pans along. And a lot of it has to do with what Ben said, the health. How healthy can teams stay during the course of the season? Because that's part of it in college football is if you're going to lose some guys during the course of the year, can you weather losing some of those guys? And no one has that answer. You hope when they get an opportunity to get in that the guys that are prepared when someone goes down in front of them, that they're ready to go.
Could you talk about the development of John Humphrey? How far he's come? He's a senior this year.
Yeah, Hump is. I don't even know what year he is.
He's a senior. Yeah,
with
who knows?
COVID, I don't
Figure it out later.
He may have 6 more years of eligibility with these COVID rules. I feel like Alex Johnson has been here forever, and thank God he has, because Alex is playing outstanding for us right now. But John's done a really good job. John is another guy that loves football, and his development is he's always working on his craft. There's always something about playing DB that he's working on, whether he's watching film or he's out on the field doing extra drills. And I think what John's getting right now is a product of his work ethic. And we feel comfortable with all 3 corners, with both him, Jalen, and Devin at that spot. And I think the 3 of those guys are similar in terms of their work ethics and dedication to being corners, and they love playing football. So it's fun to watch those 3 guys as they continue to develop.
I was wondering about your thoughts on this matchup with Utah's run defense against your offensive line and your group of running backs.
Yeah, we're going to see it play out. So we don't have any preconceived notions going in. We know how well coached they are. We know how talented they are on the defensive side of the ball, and then you'll see as the game expresses itself and what transpires. But we don't go into it saying we have to get this amount of yards, or if we don't get this amount of yards, this is what's going to happen. I think every game kind of takes on a life of its own. So it's really, we have to be prepared for them, and our guys are working diligently at doing that. And that is a matchup. They've always had a great front. And they're tough, they're physical, and really well coached. So that's a matchup that's going to dictate how we move the ball on the offensive side of the ball.
Just curious, in the wake of a brouhaha that's kind of cropped up across town, have you ever suspended a reporter covering your team?
What?
Have you ever suspended a reporter covering your team from being around the team?
Can someone do that?
Damn,
just
giving the idea.
What happened?
It happened across town. Yeah.
USC suspended a reporter for 2 weeks for catching a side conversation.
He's
Yeah.
smiling all of a
He's
sudden.
like,
Hey,
I'll the owner.
No, you can't
People
do
do
that.
that?
You can't do that.
No.
I don't. I have no. That's the first time I've never heard of that. But I don't know. And I never want to comment on somebody else's. Must have policies or something. I don't.
Do you have policies that would lead to one of us getting a suspension?
I haven't really thought of that. I didn't even know you could do that. So I don't think we have policies on that. So no, I just part of it for us. I don't know. We don't, and I'm not. We don't pay much attention as a group to what's being written. Now some individuals do, but I don't. So I wouldn't be able to tell you if I disagreed with what somebody else wrote or somebody wrote. I think maybe when I was younger. But right now, we try to preach about being the most prepared and the least distracted, and following things like that. I think you're going down a rabbit hole that I don't know. I don't really have a comment. I just didn't know you could do that. That's an interesting. Has that happened anywhere else?
I think the student reporters have been banned before, yeah.
Here?
At Oklahoma.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right.
See a trend here.
Yeah.
No comment. Can I say that?
Yeah, let's
I
say
can
that.
I can say that.
So, we know how it is about injuries and availability, but could you talk just about the availability of Coach Belton out here?
Coach Belton's available.
Yeah.
He is a tough sucker. And you may have to get like an elephant gun or something to knock KB out of things. He's just, he got hit in practice. Then refused medical treatment. Then we told him he had to get medical treatment. And he said, I'm fine. And that's what I've gotten out of him. So,
What happened
KB's
to
a
him?
tough sucker. He got kicked in the leg. and that's all I got. I just see him running around. Sometimes he's got his boot on, and then sometimes he doesn't have his boot on, but then the trainers are yelling at him to get his boot on. But it doesn't seem to slow KB down because he's still doing somersaults, flips, and all those other things. So maybe he just set the tone for the toughness of this football team. So, but it's going to take a lot more than that to take KB out. So.
Kicked in the leg by.
I think in a drill. It wasn't. I don't think it was a specific 100% someone trying to assail him. During the course of a drill, he somehow inadvertently, and he, as you guys have seen him in practice, he's in the middle of a lot of things. So I think it was just one of those byproducts of being too close to the mix a little bit. So, but he is 100% available. I wouldn't say 100%. He's available. I don't know if he's at 100%, but he won't tell you what percentage he's at. So,
just kind of following up on your, I mean, watching you for a few years now, you kind of seem like you embody the New Hampshire motto, live free or die. Would you say that's accurate? You don't believe in a lot of rules. You believe in freedom and people doing.
No, I do believe in freedom. I mean, I think that's what makes this country great. It's, I think people are allowed to have their own opinions and express their own opinions. And there's going to be a lot of opinions that people express that people don't like, but that, you know, go live in another country where they don't allow you to speak and allow you to say anything. And I think we've learned to appreciate what this country stands for. So I think that's part of being American. So I don't mean to get philosophical on a whole nother subject, but I think that's what's cool about being here is that you can have diverse opinions and people can debate diverse opinions. You know, so that's a cool thing, I think. But right now it's conference play, so, so we're on the conference play. We good?
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
So I appreciate it.